Thank you very much. So I'm very happy that we have at least one paper in present, and I can already inform you that the last paper was cancelled. So you don't have to stay here until 7, but a little bit earlier we can finish. And we look very much forward to our first papers in this session, given by Luis Manuel González and co-authored by Maixaixa Taulé, whom we met yesterday, and they will present the small format temporary exhibitions in Barcelona. The floor is yours.
Well, good afternoon. It's a great pleasure for us and for the Egyptian Museum of Barcelona to be part of this meeting side by side with institutions and museums of so a great and long tradition. We give thanks especially to the general organization and to Dr. Esther Pons, Isabel Ruiz, and Daniela Picchi for let us to participate in this meeting. This paper is divided into 3 parts. The first is a short introduction to our museum story, mentioning the present-day lack of space and some actions addressed to solve this problem. Second part is an overview of the temporary exhibitions held until 2016, and the third part deals with the models for temporary exhibitions proposed and carried out from 2016 to date. Well, the Egyptian Museum of Barcelona holds one of the most important Egyptian collections in Spain. The museum was founded in 1994 by businessman and collector Mr. Jordi Clos, and since then its collection has grown from the initial 335 to the 1,270 works that are currently part of the collection. In 2000, the museum was moved to a new building with a larger exhibition area and better facilities in offices, storage, and didactic spaces. In this new site, a museum tour was designed, including the following thematic areas: the pharaoh, hieroglyphic writing, daily life, art and crafts, cosmetics, the myth of Osiris and funerary practices, the tomb and its contents, and gods and temples. This proposal is adapted to the characteristics of our collections, offers visitors a good approach to pharaonic Egypt, and its use both for self-guided visitors and for group-guided tours. The growth of the museum's collection and the desire of our president, Mr. Jordi Clos, whose philosophy is to share all his collection with the public, mean that at present the space available for the permanent exhibition and for temporary exhibitions is clearly insufficient. In this sense, some actions have been accomplished to improve these limitations. The first is the replacement of individual showcases with larger displays, grouping works thematically. It's the first action in this sense. We have the idea to renew all the museum in this way. We have begun from the beginning, of course, the area devoted to pharaohs. In this area, with this action, we have been able to add 15 more objects in the same exhibition area. It's a solution to dispose for more area for exhibition. See the area of the pharaoh. Also, we have incorporated to the museographic tour previously unused areas, as we see in the slide. corners, hidden places that are suitable to exhibit some element. And finally, the addition of contents through virtual supports that do not require a physical space. There are applications that you can download to mobile phones while you are visiting the exhibition. They are inspired especially in items of our collection to offer another kind of exhibition. I show two of these presentations. In the area of mummification, we have the inspiring the Lady of Kemet is one the mummy of our collection. We explain well, in this way how the Egyptian mummify. The natron, the salt. I don't know if the sound can be, there is a sound, environmental. Bandages, ointments, the basic explanation, visual, very visual, no text, nothing, but clearly understandable. We can put one, another, 2, 3, 4 layers of bandages and ointments. We decided to stop in a point. Don't arrive to the 11 layers of bandages of Tutankhamun. And finally, it's a Fayum portrait, is our mummy. We have another, I have 3 or 4 more. If you prefer movies than the speech, I can. This is based also in some of the items, the area of arts and crafts. From a photograph of the tomb of Niang Numan Nuhotep, you can see. There is a sound that can be here now. Ahora, don't be afraid. Sonido. These objects don't belong to our collection, but the axe form part of it. We include, this is part of our collection, the hieroglyphic, naming hieroglyphs, all the possibilities that a picture, a moment of the work in the workshop can offer. So, and finally, the bed, older than the picture, 2 or 3 centuries or more, but belonging to our collection. Second part is brief. Since 2000, in addition to the permanent exhibition, the museum also has a space dedicated to temporary exhibitions. From 2000 to 2016, a total of 16 exhibitions were held. Depending on the origin of the works and the thematic area, we can classify these exhibitions into exhibitions with objects belonging to our collection, exhibition made with objects belonging to our collection, at the list, photographic exhibitions about pharaonic Egypt with external collections, exhibitions about other topics and cultures than Egypt, mainly with external collections, and finally, exhibitions on Egypt with external collections. In this last section, mention should be made of the collaboration with the Egyptian Museum of Turin for the exhibition Egyptian Coffins, Gardeners of Ammon in the Valley of the Queens, and with this same museum and the Egyptian collections of Bologna, Lyon, and Florence for the exhibition Fashion and Beauty in Ancient Egypt. From 2016 on, is a book of the paper. In 2016, we decided to propose and apply a more regular way of planning and holding temporary exhibitions with three well-defined objectives. The first, to develop specific subjects with other approaches and more deeply than the permanent exhibitions allows. The second is to adapt the exhibitions to a more or less fixed and limited budget, economical budget. And increase, of course, try to increase the number of visitors to the museum. For this purpose, we consider that this model of exhibitions must follow a number of special requirements. To use only our museum collections, both the Egyptian archaeology collection and the Egyptological library. The conception, production, and exhibition time must be around 1 year and a half, 10 months, and the exhibition must follow a standard route through the temporary exhibition hall. To facilitate the museographic project, the temporary exhibition room has highly versatile display supports, niche, and freestanding showcases. From a scientific point of view, the edition of a catalog must be peremptory. This is a good occasion to study the works in depth, search for references, translation of text, and so on. It's also a good moment to renew and improve the photographic archives and, if necessary, to carry out preservation, restoration treatments. Concerning the museum's policies of new acquisitions, a number of works have been precisely acquired to form part when we decide what can we do. We are thinking also in the acquisitions for the museum and try to use it for the exhibition. It's the case of these two statues, one of them belonging to the priest of Sobek, Jemef Setkap, used for the exhibition Women and Men in Ancient Egypt. We'll speak about this exhibition in 2 minutes. Exhibitions must have a complementary educational program, courses, conferences, or guided visits for all types of public. It is also important to launch the new exhibition with a press conference and an opening ceremony with the participation of a public figure. We have, in this case, we have our colleague, the director of the museum, Maixaixa Taulé, here present, our president, Mr. Jordi Clos, and the mayor of Barcelona, Jaume Collbony. It's a friend of the Egyptian Museum. And from the economic point of view, these exhibitions are also a kind of closed product for entities interested in financing this type of cultural projects. I can say that all the exhibitions have received external funds from different entities, we can see here, people that give money for the production of the exhibition. Thus, from 2016 to the present, 6 of these small format exhibitions, 6, and with the pandemic in the middle, we can add maybe another 1 or 2 more. Have been held. More than 300 items from our collection, it is to say a quarter of the total, and more than 50 documents of our library have been used. The first exhibition of this series was Osiris, God of Egypt, the being that who remains perfect. The protagonist, I speak a brief, some details of these exhibitions in short. The protagonist of this exhibition is Osiris, the most present god in our collection and in more other collections. This coffin, the right, of a man named Nefer, curiously, it's Nefer, one of the epithets of the god Osiris, he who remains perfect, in this case is the name of the owner of the coffin, was acquired at auction especially for this exhibition. Sacred animals of ancient Egypt brought together the 25 different species of animals present in our collection. Among them, the 11 animal mummies. In this slide, we can see an outstanding set of new acquisitions that were acquired also precisely for this exhibition and enrich this exhibition enormously. Passion for Egypt, 200 years of collecting in Egypt, was a very, we enjoy it a lot with this exhibition, very singular exhibition. It tells the stories of 50 collectors, antiquities dealers, and institutions that were the former owners of our works of art. We made an investigation in order to follow the track of this former history of these objects. All them share with us the passion and love for ancient Egypt. Among them, we find the controversial Lady Merck, a rich and independent woman, patron of the arts and collector. Her Egyptian collection, with more than 1,700 objects, was catalogued and published by the eminent Egyptologist Sir Wallis Budge. The catalogue includes this beautiful cornelian ring now in our collection. This pectoral and this amulet were part of the collection of Natasha Rambova, the second wife of the movie star Rodolfo Valentino, or Rudolph Valentine, if you prefer. Rambova was a multifaceted woman, cinema, theater, dance, antiquities, collector, and Egyptologist. Here we can see Natasha Rambova with Bernard Bothemer and Alexander Pianchor and his wife. In the temple, I mean, is in Medinet Habu. Medinet Habu, I don't remember now. Part of her collection was donated to different North American museums. and some of them were sold in auction. Finally, the so-called datary bust is the most traveled object of our collection. Formerly, it was the property of the antiquities dealer Giovanni Datari, who sold it in auction in Paris in 1912. The bust appeared again in 1921, after the First World War, as a war seizure of the properties of the Parisian antiquities shop of the German dealer Jacob Hirsch. We lose track of the Datary bust until 2000. Its last owner was the Dallas businessman, collector, and scholar of ancient Egypt, Mr. Alan May. Women and Men of Ancient Egypt is an unusual exhibition that, as there are neither gods nor pharaohs. In this case, the main protagonists are officials, craftsmen, priests and priestesses, in the end, men and women who were the body and soul of the Egyptian civilization. The exhibition Ptolemy, Pharaoh of Egypt, the discovery of his temple, consists of a selection of 50 items of Ptolemaic period. They define the cultural framework to explain the Sharuna project and its results. More than 100 blocks from a temple built in Ptolemy I's times, discovered and recorded along 40 years of archaeological investigations at Kom el Ahmar Sharuna in Middle Egypt. In the project participate the Tübingen University, the Supreme Council of Antiquities of Egypt, and the Egyptian Museum of Barcelona. And finally, coming forth by day, the Book of the Dead of the Ancient Egyptians deals with one of the most important religious documents, from ancient Egypt. The exhibition is currently on display in our museum. I invite you to come and see it. You are welcome. And at the end, we would like to take this opportunity to pay a sincere tribute to our great friend and colleague, Agustín Gamarra, responsible of the restoration and preservation works in the museum, and member, above all, of the great family that is the Egyptian Museum of Barcelona. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for bringing us to Barcelona and introducing your, a little bit the permanent exhibition, but also the temporary exhibition program. We have time for some questions, Emily.
Very impressive program you have. It's great you have a format, you have a template that you're using because you're really ambitious. And they look great, but can you give me an idea? You said you're doing it on a small budget. What does that mean? What is the general range of budget for one of these shows?
The economic section.
Okay.
Of the...
May I ask you?
Thank you. This little exhibition without collaboration of other museums, it could cost 20,000 euros or 25,000 euros, because we reuse. It's important to know that as we are a private and we have to self-management, we have a very important collector, but we have to make our budget, So we have to be very active, to have our own money to pay restoration, excavations. We can buy pieces, but we have to get our budget. So it's not possible to have international collaborations as we like every year because it costs too much. But what we do is to use our collection to explain different thematic subjects of ancient Egypt in these little formats, because we are very focused in ¿cómo se dice? Pedagogic issues, no? We like to have a lot of schools and work a lot. We for example, every 6 months we publish these. These are our book of conference and courses we did. And this is the sponsors these are our sponsors, so I have to meet with them to convince, and we try. So these little exhibitions more or less can cost 20,000 euros or 25. It's not too much. We reuse all the showcases, and we have agreements of collaboration with the painters, with the printers, with everybody. And we try to be very active to have the money to begin new projects all the time. I don't know if I answer you. Some years ago we made catalogs, and now the new way of working is without little interviews, little catalogs, thin catalogs, digital catalogs, not very numbers in editions, so little editions of catalogs. And if we finish during the exhibition, we print more, and we work like this.
So are there any more questions? Yes, please.
You seem incredibly organised in that 18-month turnaround from conception to in display. The present one is Books of the Dead. Do you know what the next one will be after that?
Sorry? The problem of all this that use the own collection is that finally we are exhausting the possibilities. I am sincere. This last exhibition is about the Book of the Dead. We have only 2 small fragments of papyrus of this size. And one of the last possibilities, we can recover ancient former exhibitions to add new material, but it's difficult to find new thematic proposals. Our collection is a good collection, but it's not a great collection. We have limited possibilities, and we have we must add to the last format of exhibition. We must add the former exhibition. We have also exhibitions in the first part for jewelry, woman in ancient Egypt, the exhibitions devoted to 3 or 4 to our ladies, the Golden Lady, the Lady of Kemet, and the Lady of the House are 2 cartoonages and the Fayum portrait with the mummy. We have made this exhibition, and it's difficult to find, I repeat, new thematic. The next is a secret. You don't have, I don't know. I like a lot to organize an exhibition about ¿cómo se llama? Tools. specifically about tools. Finish. For example of materials before working, after working, example of the use of tools. It's not necessary, I think, if you have the original items, okay, but tools are a kind, in the case of the Egyptian tools, a kind of material that you can reproduce easily. It's not the same to reproduce a coffin of the 21st dynasty that a chisel or a hammer. You have, I think it's an exhibition that I don't remember. I remember tools in part of exhibition, but not a complete exhibition devoted to this thematic, to this subject. For me, as archaeologists, well, the craftsmen are the father and mother also, but there are not so many craftswomen, but are the fathers and mothers of the Egyptian civilization. They build with the hands, all we can see now in museums and everywhere. They need an exhibition about them, of course.
Sometimes we are a very little team, so we discuss what, and I would like to see the society and try to get information from the past that help nowadays. So maybe a good exhibition could be the information and disinformation of the society now.
So, since we still try to kind of get in touch with our speaker from the Pushkin, and we can't reach her, and unfortunately, our next speakers are not yet online. So, the last call for questions, or the opportunity to socialize, the last opportunity for those who don't come to Toledo. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I just noticed you had a talatat that you showed very quickly in the beginning. The talatat.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, you showed it very quickly in the beginning. Maybe we could see
in the area
one
of
piece
the pharaoh,
from Amana.
the section of the pharaoh.
Oh, okay. Okay, but do you know how that was bought? How you got that?
I don't remember, but it was, I think, in Christie's, in an auction in Christie's.
Okay.
I don't remember. It belonged also to a former collection.
They always do that.
Suriano, I don't remember the name, but it came from the number is the 421. Remember the inventory number, but it came from auction. Yeah. Also in the museum we acquire. It's important in the Egyptian Museum Barcelona. You think that in Barcelona there are no Egyptian collections, but there are. Finally, has been appearing collections of people that traveled to Egypt in the 50s when the shop in the museum was open and they sell with the permission. And we have recovered 2 or 3 small, not important collections, a small collection of a doctor that went to Egypt to study in the 50s. ¿Cómo se llama? Las enfermedades, tropical diseases, and he bought some objects in the shops, in the Tano and in the museum shop, and when he was died, he offered the collection to the museum. I want the collection. His wife said that he wants the collection remains in Barcelona and offers to the museum, and we have the collection completely exhibited completely in one showcase. Was the desire of the collector. So we have a kind of reference also for the city of Barcelona and a resting place of these objects.
Okay, thank you.
I've got a question, Louis Manuel. Yeah, of course, you talked about the Lady of Kemet, so the red shroud mummy with the mummy portrait. I noticed in one of your slides that there was this explanatory panel which seemed to involve, from my perspective, that you did some analyses. Can you tell a little bit more about this?
What?
This panel next to...
next to the mummy.
Yeah. You did some kind of pigment analyses or...
Pigment analysis we made with we sent the samples to the Getty Institute in Malibu, no? That they study a mummy with the same style of this, with the red pigment, but they study several mummies with this red pigment. And they arrive to they conclude that the pigment came from the mines of Huelva in the southwest of Spain. Okay, but when we send our pigment, this pigment was different. It's not from Huelva. It was on the other side of the south of Spain, from Murcia, for the area of Cartago Nova, Cartagena, Murcia, Cartago Nova. It's another place to obtain this pigment. It's a Roman time. We have the global economy in Roman time, and the pigment went from the south of Spain to Egypt, and the porphyry came from Egypt to here, and we have all this movement. And the analytical of the pigment, this result.
And this was for the shroud, but was the portrait itself also looked into?
No, they wrote, we want to make a publication including new studies, because all these things change a lot. The tomography, computerized tomography, with the same test. If you use different software, you obtain very different and better results. And we want to re-study, to use another programs to see more than we saw, I think, almost 20 years ago, when we made the first study of the mummy. To add and include all this information, also the pigment and other things we have.
This is good to hear. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Otherwise, maybe indeed we could see the movies. So maybe let's try to bring that.
Es que las tengo en el computer.
Carriers of the coffin which contains Roy's remains. His maid, Sekhmet Hepu. Roy has died. He was a good man who believed in truth. We grieve for the blessed Roy who rests in his coffin. Funerary boat containing Roy's coffin. The lector priest, Tutmosis, purifies the boat with incense. Roy's wife, Nebtowi. Don't leave me, Roy, don't leave me. Head towards the west, cattle, head west. All of your family and friends are going with you, Roy, whilst the gods are saying, Roy has lived a good long life and is now coming to us. Grieve, family and friends, weep for Roy, the good man who hated lies. You were loved by your fellow countrymen. You were happy and sincere. Roy's tomb in the western mountain of Thebes. A priest characterized as Anubis holds the mummy of Roy. The priests purify the mummy and carry out the opening of the mouth ritual in an attempt to activate Roy's vital body functions. and Neb Torwi, Roy's wife, says goodbye to her deceased husband.
The Spanish version, the cows are more, more noisy. I'm really the English version is softer.
But thank you very much for your flexibility. We very much appreciate.